Live from the Rock Sportsnet studios in Rochester, New York, it's your Rochester Sports Show, Rochester Sports Mumblings! Presented by Salvatore's Old Fashioned Pizzeria, with your hosts, Matt Goldman and John Cargill. And here's your host, Matt Goldman.
All right. Awesome.
Patrick, thanks for coming in. It's very nice to see you. Did you enjoy opening day the other day?
Opening day was awesome. A lot of
Wasn't
fun.
it fantastic? It was
bit
a little
cold.
little bit chilly, but it wasn't bad. All right, we got to start off right off the bat here. We have a guest from the Democrat Chronicle, the guy that does it all, covering every sports team in Rochester, it seems like. Kevin Oklibzija, thank you for joining us. Great weekend for baseball to start.
Well, it was a good weekend. Well, it was baseball, so it was back, and that's a great thing. But I don't know if I wouldn't have wanted to have been out in the stands on Saturday. It was cold.
It was a little chilly.
It was a little chilly.
I was in the stands. You know, I mean, I'm good at bundling up for these things. I've been doing it a while, so I wear like 13 different layers. I got Under Armours on. You know, it's like I'm playing pond hockey. So to me, it doesn't bother me. But I always see the people who, for some reason, just do not come prepared. I don't know. They look at the forecast. They think 48, with a 20 mile an hour wind is like not that bad. But it gets cold when you're sitting there for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe they looked outside and said, "Oh, sunshine, beautiful."
Right, and then the clouds came about a few seconds later.
Yeah.
Kevin, got to ask you, my favorite topic of the last couple days are these pitch timers. I was really fascinated to see what this was going to look like. And I'll give you my impressions first, and you tell me your impressions and tell me the players' impressions, most importantly. It seemed a little bit intrusive. The umpires did not. I thought they were supposed to give warnings in April, but there were no warnings given, and it expired at least 5 times I counted over the weekend. And whoever's running it was very inconsistent. Sometimes if it was after a dead ball, it would start from 18 and count down. Sometimes after a dead ball, it would start from 20 and count
Well, it's
down.
supposed to start at 20. But,
It is.
I mean, they're still learning too, and they're trying to get into a routine. And then sometimes, is it when they step on the grass leaving the bullpen? Is it when he steps on the dirt, just to walk up to throw a pitch? Is it? I mean, some of the pitchers are now they're stalling by just not going on the dirt of the mound. So there's a lot of there's a lot of learning even for the players because they're just still not used to it. Even though they had it in spring training, now they're in real games and they're thinking about a whole lot more of what they're doing. On the mound and at the plate. I mean, there was a time, I can't remember who the player was. He Dickerson stepped out of the box and then all of a sudden realized what he did, and he jumped back in and then stared at the umpire and laughed. So.
Yeah, and were the umpires, are they told to not even bother with it, or was that just something this crew just didn't want to bother with
Buffalo, so I'm not sure what they were, there were a couple times, and we even said that in the press box, that should have been a warning, right?
Right, yeah, absolutely.
They're, it's all new.
Okay.
And,
all right.
I mean, when they start, issuing balls and strikes for violations,
well,
then it probably would have been. Then it would have been more important for them to be calling them.
It seemed like a few times. Okay, so is it when the pitcher gets back into the dirt circle? It's like when he steps a foot on the dirt circle. That's when it's supposed to start again. If it had been a play,
then he has, then he's got to be ready to throw the pitch within whatever.
Okay, right, the 20, and then of course if the batter is not, the rule says the batter has to be addressing the pitcher with 5 seconds left on the clock,
right,
or else it's a strike on him. So
correct.
All right, I mean it should be interesting, at least especially in May when it starts. I can see there being issues with if all the timers, the operators running the clocks in each ballpark aren't on the exact same page. There could be some arguments, is like, oh, they didn't start it on time or they started a second late, things like that.
Yeah, and that's, then the umpire, there's a couple times he said, no, restart it, or, So it and again, it's, I don't know. I mean, hopefully it all becomes second nature and they just, the clock won't matter. I mean, hopefully by July it won't matter.
Right.
So used to it, but
Right.
I mean, I like the idea of. I mean, yesterday's game, it did take a while. There were some walks and pitching changes and all of that. And, for a 2-0 game, it probably shouldn't have taken 2:40 something, I believe it was.
2:48, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but it still seemed to move along. It's not like you saw guys, as they used to, batters stepping out and
Right.
David Ortiz, I got to fix my batting glove 17 times before I can swing again.
Right.
So, I mean, the pace itself is what they want, and a game may last 3:30. It might last 3:15, but that doesn't mean it wasn't moving along. There was just a lot of action.
Saturday, you really, really felt a difference. It was the first game I watched under, with the pitch timers. It moved. And even yesterday, you're right. That game last year might have been 3:05.
Yeah, very possible. Very possible. And Saturday's game did fly. That was 2-0. And
Yeah.
I mean, again, the Buffalo starter, I swear he threw the pitch a pitch every 9 seconds.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
he
He was rolling.
Again.
And I wonder. I was reading an article, before the season started, just asking players' impressions from spring training. A Yankees prospect, Ian Clarkin, he says he thought it's going to favor the pitchers actually, because the batters have no time to get on their feet again. If they get a curveball that breaks them at the ankles, and they have just no time to regroup like they used to.
I think that's part of it, and I also think over time, be it sports psychologists or whatever, they've all some guys have worked with them, and they've been told get into routine. So now many of the batters have that. Fix your batting glove, whatever. Jeter, Ortiz. I mean, so many guys in Major League Baseball do that. Now they're not allowed to do that anymore, unless if they do it, they have to again be in the batter's box quickly. So.
Sure.
That might be a slight disadvantage too. It's not the routine they have taught themselves for the last however many years. Which is why they're doing it at this level.
Right.
Some people have said, well, why didn't they just start in rookie ball?
I was just going to ask you that.
Those guys have come from rookie ball, especially. Most of those guys are out of high school, and even the college guys have been encouraged to play much quicker, and the umpires had more power to not just encourage them, but order them, especially at the high school level. So those guys are already used to playing briskly. It's the guys at AA and AAA who have developed the habits or, put these routines into their everyday at bats that kind of cause things to drag. So I think that's why they did it at this level.
They've had that the 20-second rule. I mean, it's been in the baseball rule book forever anyways, but they've enforced it in college recently, and in the SEC, that's where I think Major League Baseball got the idea of a pitch clock, because they've been using it in the SEC for I think 3 years now.
Well, Bill Veeck put one in Comiskey Park.
Really?
1970s.
No way.
On his own.
Really?
He did it because it was in the rules, and he had a shower in the outfield for fans. He had a pitch clock.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah.
So wait, there was a shower, just like a truck stop out in the outfield?
Well, not for people to completely disrobe, but you could, if on a hot day, you could just walk under it, and
really?
have a little lever, drench yourself, and cool off.
Wow, we need a modern day Bill Veeck.
Yes, we do.
All right, Kevin, let's talk actual baseball and not just watches and clocks. Red Wings pitching is looking pretty good, just like it did in spring training. Only 2 runs scored, 2 runs allowed over the weekend. What's your impression so far?
They don't hit. That's not an aberration. The scores so far. Opening day, they had 6 runs in Buffalo.
Right.
But by and large, I don't think they're going to hit a lot of home runs at all, and I don't think they'll be a team that hits 280, 290.
Mm-hmm.
But they have very, very good pitching. Their bullpen is really good until the Twins start calling up guys, because their bullpen isn't. And they play defense. So they'll be in a lot of games. They'll be entertaining, and because their pitching's good, we should have a lot of 220s and 230s, and not 320s and 330s.
Yeah, I guess that's
what game time.
That's what.
But I mean, when Buxton, I think everybody in Rochester just while this team is okay, and they may want to see Aaron Hicks and some players here now, I think everybody can't wait for Miguel Sano and Byron Buxton to get here.
I was just going to ask you about Hicks. He made that incredible catch on opening day in Buffalo on Thursday. How long do you think he's going to hang around here, especially with the Twins just looking like they're going to be another just clunker?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, Schaefer, the guy they got in center, is not he's just a ball player who can. There's a lot of those guys. It's not like it's his job because he won it. I think Hicks wasn't ready still. They gave him the job too early 2 years ago. They kept him last year, and I think they just wanted to make sure he really is ready to hit in the major league level. So they'll probably be here, I think, a while. I mean, I think it's got to be a couple months,
okay,
or close to that, just because he didn't look that good at the plate yesterday. Took a couple big swings, but didn't connect. So I think they just want him to settle in, figure out who he is as a player, make sure that the switch hitting does work. He tried, then he gave up for like 2 weeks, and then he started to do it again last year. So, but I like his attitude. He's been good, and not like he's been loafing, not like he's just kind of here thinking he's here because it'll be a short stay and then I'll be back up. I don't think he's approaching it that way at all.
Mike Quaddy, the new manager, I was impressed yesterday. Bottom of the ninth, they're down 2 runs, 2 pinch hitters, and they both got on base. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, and considering the wing pinch hitters last year, I think we're like 5 for 24 for the season. When you start out 2 for 2, that's not bad.
Right.
Unfortunately, and then Hicks came up and hit a shot to the left fielder. It was as well hit a ball as the Wings had all day, but it was right at him.
And then too many taking called strikes for strike 3 yesterday. I know it was a big strike zone, but it seemed like they didn't adapt too well.
Yeah, and I just think a couple times they got fooled. Whether the last pitch of the game was a strike, Ferris didn't seem to think it was.
Right.
But I didn't get a good replay. I had one. I said, well, it's close. It looked, maybe not, but. It's early.
It is what
hitters,
it is.
To me, are behind. So even though they didn't lose a workout to weather in Florida this year, which is remarkable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and the weather seemed to have finally migrated up here. It's about 82 today, I think, which is great. All right, Kevin, we got to let.
So let's hurry this up so I can go enjoy it on my
Right. All right, Kevin, we got to let you go. Real quick, Calder Cup final pick. I'm picking Utica over Hershey in 7. What do you got?
Utica, you know what? I haven't even looked at it yet.
All right.
I apologize, but there's another week to go in the season. I haven't sat down and I haven't even figured out my NHL winner yet.
Right.
The Rangers look very tough. I mean,
they do.
They are really playing well.
I'm hoping for a Rangers-Isles series coming up soon.
That would be a lot of fun.
That would be great. All right, Kevin, thank you so much. Always amazing insight. Go out there, enjoy that sunshine.
I hope to.
All right.
All right, see ya.
Kevin Oklibzija from the Democrat Chronicle. All right, we're going to have John Galloway from the Rochester Rattlers, who had an awesome start yesterday. This is Monday if you're listening to the replay. Sunday in Charlotte, a 10-9 overtime victory over the Hounds. They tied the game with 2.9 seconds left, and then won it. Jordan Wolf, his fourth goal, won it in overtime. Great start for the Rattlers.
Yeah, did you see any of the highlights at all?
I did not see the highlights. I saw the end of the game. I saw the overtime goal. So it was a nice. They fed it from behind the net, and
yeah,
Wolf
we're just reading about it. I'm like, awesome. We have a lot of good stuff to look forward to with this Rattlers team.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this Rattlers season. It was a great weekend overall with the Red Wings opening. Opening day was a lot of fun. It was very cold. I mean, it wasn't as cold as some of my memories as a kid when I was like 29. It was about 43.
I mean, it was in the 40s. That's not really cold.
But
it's just not warm.
Yeah, there was a 20-mile-an-hour wind.
It was windy.
And, of course, Dan Mason made his 50-degree guarantee, and it did not even come close to reaching 50 degrees, which this forecast actually called for 53, and it just didn't happen. It fell very short.
I think it's making up for it today, though.
Yes, today it's definitely it is warm out there.
It's nice.
So the Red Wings starting off, they are 2-1. The Nighthawks with a huge 14-5 victory over the Colorado Mammoth. They clinched the playoff spot, John.
Which is amazing. Another game I wish I could have made, but John Grant Jr. coming back.
John Grant Jr. coming back. They held him to just 3 points, and that was the key.
Amazing.
If you can hold John Grant to 3 points, they handcuffed him, and he's a lot of their offense out in Denver.
Oh yeah, and the thing is, this Nighthawks team has definitely woken up, and you were saying about the 4-peat, the possibility. It's starting to look more and more convincing.
I think it's a big possibility. As I've been saying all year, the race between the Nighthawks and the Toronto Rock for first place is a fantastic race, and it's going to go right down the wire.
Unstoppable, and no longer. I wouldn't say that anymore.
Yeah, and Nighthawks only trailing Toronto by a game. Nighthawks are 10-4. Toronto is 12-4. And it really should be a great race. We're awaiting John Galloway, the goaltender for the Rochester Rattlers. In the meantime, some soccer over the weekend.
Rhinos.
The Rhinos with a big 3-0 victory over the Montreal Impact in Montreal. Excuse me, I said not the Montreal Impact, the FC Montreal.
FC Montreal.
It's the Montreal Impact JV team.
And
essentially,
did you see any of the highlights there? Because man, that sounded like another amazing game.
Well, the goals were from Johnny Mendoza, and then 2 goals off the bench from Christian Valesky, who looks like he might be, I don't know about a super sub, but definitely pretty clutch off the bench. 2 second-half goals for Valesky, and also Montreal got a red card. Frank Zouet.
It's nice to
got a red card in the 65th minute for a last-man tackle on Alex Dixon. Only the Rhinos' 3rd victory in 27 visits to the province of Quebec.
And hopefully this is signs of things to change, because one thing, it's been a while since we've had any real prolific scorers on the Rhinos. It's been a little bit.
Yeah.
And it'd be nice to, have some prolific, true goal scorers.
All right, John, we got to switch back to lacrosse for a minute. On the line, we have the goalkeeper extraordinaire for the Rochester Rattlers. It is John Galloway. John, thank you for joining us.
Welcome to the show.
You got to be excited about this weekend. What a way to start off your season.
Yeah, a tremendous way to get the year going, I think, for us, especially with a lot of the guys from last year's team, not able to make it for the first couple of games, for us to go on the road and get a big W against a very talented Charlotte team, I think, and that puts us in a really good place as we start the season here.
So talk about, coming off last season, losing by a goal in the championship game after having the lead. It had to be heartbreaking. How does that serve to motivate you guys for this season now?
Yeah, I think throughout the offseason, that's been a huge motivating factor, to come so close to that championship ring and to have it taken from you. Denver is a tremendously talented team, but I think, at the end of the day, we look ourselves in the mirror and really challenge ourselves for what we could have done and what we're capable of this year. So the guys came back extremely excited, really in good shape for training camp, and everyone's chomping at the bit, which has been a different type of atmosphere than my first couple of years in the league, for sure.
Different just for you guys because coming off that championship game, just feeling more confident?
Yeah, I think we feel confident, but I also think we know what it takes at this point now to win in this league. I think, we have been a young team for the past couple of seasons, and now that we have a couple of veterans in the locker room and guys that have been that close to the championship, we feel really comfortable about what we need to do, how well prepared we must be game in and game out, and I think that showed there in the second half when we had to battle back just to find the win yesterday.
So you are Mr. Syracuse lacrosse pretty much. You're from Syracuse. You played at Syracuse. You won 2 national championships, 08 and 09, with the Orange. It has to be pretty cool for you to still, be able to play professionally right down the road.
It really is amazing. When I got drafted for Rochester, my first year out of college, I had a couple of teammates come with me, and I think really all of us really couldn't envision ourselves playing somewhere other than, upstate New York. I think really worked out so well in terms of our families and friends being able to come to the games, but also just our type of lacrosse, fast-paced, the blue collar, something that we really got used to playing in the Carrier Dome. And, we've been fortunate enough to continue that playing style into our pro career.
Now, indoor lacrosse has always been successful at the professional level, up around here, Western New York, Central New York. Uh, Outdoor lacrosse has had its struggles. I mean, there was a time when the Rattlers were drawing very well, but it's waned off over recent years. And now, of course, you guys, your home venue is moving a little west to Brockport from downtown. Do you think that professional outdoor lacrosse still has its place in Western New York?
I do. I think the reason why so many people came to our support when the team had thoughts of relocating was the commitment to lacrosse in upstate New York in general, not only Western New York but throughout the state. I think it's a sport that when you come in as a spectator, it's a tremendous product. We have guys on our team that are all world players, guys that have been playing for a long time and that play at a high, fast pace. I think, once fans realize the opportunity that they have just down the road from them, I do think Rochester will gain that support back. And, I know that the new home stadium is a little bit farther away, but, I don't think we had a great fan base at Salem Stadium, and,
Sure.
and we're hoping that, with the move, maybe we can get some people out just a little bit more west, but out supporting the guys, especially after that championship run and all those guys back from last year's team.
Yeah, sometimes change is always good. Maybe this will be a boost for the fan support. I really hope it does. I mean, because you guys deserve the fan support of Rochester. Just this team is so incredibly talented, and you guys don't even have all of your weapons yet. I mean, still guys playing in the NLL. It's got to be exciting to be able to play with such offensively talented guys too. I mean, Kevin Lavelle, the all-time leading scorer in Major League Lacrosse history, was a member of the Rattlers last year, and now you've got the Thompsons, and it's got to be cool to have that offense.
It really is. I think for me as a coach now too, just being able to watch those guys and some of the creative things that they do on the fly, it really reminds me of why I fell in love with the sport. These guys are so competitive, so driven to be great at their craft, and for practices, things like opportunities where we get to compete against our own guys, you really realize how special some of these talents are. So, guys like Jordan Wolf, they're one of the fastest players in the game of lacrosse right now. Jordan McIntosh, who's in the NLL, but will be back in a few weeks. I mean, these are guys that, really, if I were a kid right now, I'd be growing up watching. So I just feel very fortunate to have a chance to be in the same locker room as them.
Now, you're the assistant coach at Providence College, correct?
Yes.
So you must have been pretty excited watching the hockey national championship game.
Yeah, pretty awesome. We actually share a arena with the men's hockey program where I'm actually in the arena currently right now. They're getting
cool.
ready for their big celebration. So,
wow.
I think, being around a program like that, you see what it takes to be a champion, and it's really been fun for them to watch them grow as a program and obviously take the title this past weekend.
That just seemed like a team of destiny in the NCAA tournament this year. I mean, coming back in the national championship game, but I don't know. People didn't think they should have been a 4 seed. It was probably a little low, but I don't think anyone really expected Providence to win the whole thing.
Yeah, they came in the season ranked third, so people, obviously people in Providence were not surprised, but they had that mentality when they went out a little bit of a skid in the middle of the season that they were still very much capable of playing with anybody in the country, and that obviously showed against an ultra talented team in BU.
Maybe John, maybe it's just because Providence College is kind of it's not a big name. It's not Boston University. It's not BC. It's not UND. It's not Minnesota. Maybe that's why it seemed. For people who aren't hardcore college hockey fans, maybe that's why they kind of seem to come out of nowhere.
Yeah. I think we're very happy with playing that smaller school role and speaking up onto people, and to be able to hoist the trophy as a smaller school, I think has been so exciting for the entire student body and campus as a whole.
So, John, got to ask you. I've always wondered, why do you wear pants in goal instead of shorts?
Yeah, as you know, upstate New York is not known for the warm weather. So, preparing for
except for
season,
today,
in January.
It's pretty warm today. It's about 80.
Yeah, the weather's about to turn, we hope. But yeah, obviously preparing for spring season as a high school player, you always had to dress a little warmer. And I remember just having a really good day one day when I wore the sweats, and I thought, I'm just going to stick with this. And that was 8th or 9th grade, and since then I've been doing it regardless of the weather. And it's become a little bit of a trademark for sure. And at this point I'm so used to it, I don't even notice the heat anymore. So it's kind of become a thing for me.
Very cool. Do you still dance in goal ever? I used to see you dancing during TV timeouts.
It depends on how I'm doing, I think, that day.
Okay.
Whether or not I'm feeling pretty confident. But, with this team, it's allowed me to play so much looser, to really enjoy the process. And I think that's allowed us to kind of relax on the field, which has been, the reason why you want to play is to have that type of feeling. So very fortunate to have that the past couple of years.
Now, yesterday you guys played on grass at American Legion Stadium in Charlotte. Do you most of your games are on turf, though? Do you prefer the turf or the grass?
I do prefer the turf as a goalie just because it is more true than obviously than grass can be. And I also I don't wear cleats, so sometimes the thicker grass becomes an issue.
Okay.
But Denver is really the only other team in the MLL that had a grass field. They're actually just the Denver. The Broncos Stadium actually just laid down a brand new turf field.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, so Charlotte will be
Charlotte's the only one.
We have played.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so the rest of the fields are turf. So yeah, you get a little bit more used to that. You train on that, and it just becomes more of a comfort level for you.
Yeah, we had Brad Ford in last week, and he said that Major League Lacrosse actually preferred the turf field, which I'm not a lacrosse player myself, so I didn't really understand why. But it seems like maybe the bounces are just truer. You're gonna have better bounce passes, better bounce shots.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah, I think that the ball just you have to learn how to handle those types of situations, and I think our team did a really good job of adjusting. Because the grass field is unique. Very rarely do you practice on it. Very rarely do you see that often anymore, even in high school level. So for the lacrosse league, especially with the weather, sometimes getting crazy in the summer, it's just nice to have turf.
Very cool. John, home opener is coming up this Sunday, April 19th at Eunice Kennedy Shriver Stadium in Brockport. Tickets are just $15, and, of course, season tickets are still available. Very low price for that. Just call the Rattlers office. The New York Lizards coming to town. It should be an exciting day. Hopefully the weather is good, and good luck on Sunday, John. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Look forward to having some people out this Sunday.
All right. That was John Galloway of the Rochester Rattlers. Great start for the Rattlers, continuing what they did last year.
Hopefully that the product on the field is matched by the fan support. I mean, just like you said, hopefully we see a lot of people out there in Brockport, and I think that all the fans are going to be very impressed by the product. I'm very excited.
All right, we're going to have Brandon Miller, another goalie from the Rochester Rhinos, coming up in just a minute. In the meantime, John, more soccer news. The Flash opened up their season last night. This would be Sunday night in Seattle. And the Seattle Reign came out with a 5-1 victory over the Flash. The Flash seemed completely outmatched. Sydney Leroux did not look great. I mean, she's all right. She had one shot off goal, no shots on goal. Megan Rapinoe, the U.S. national women's team player for the Reign, scored 3 second-half goals, second-half hat trick. And they looked a little overmatched. I mean, I know they're going with a very young team this year. I hope that it gets better from here.
Do you think it's just growing pains, or do you think it's that we don't have a lot of those world-class players?
Well, we have one world-class player in Sydney Leroux.
Which we got for Abby, who's from Seattle.
Right. I think it's a matter of, and we lost Carly Lloyd.
Yeah. It seems like we lost a lot of that star power that the Flash were known for. Because the Flash were known for having a lot of world-class level players, and it's not really the case anymore.
I think it's going to take a little bit for this team to come together. I think that they'll probably be more competitive during the World Cup break.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a break. The league is continuing to play during the World Cup. So once the U.S., and Canadian, and Mexican national team players leave for their respective countries' training camps, I think that it's going to at least give the Flash more of a competitive edge. But
we hope.
We will be back to the Flash in a second. From the Rhinos, who had a big 3-0 victory in Montreal this past weekend. Goalkeeper Brandon Miller. Brandon, thank you for joining us. Had to be exciting getting your second clean sheet already of the young season. And, man, you guys are rolling right now.
Yeah, it's good to get that second clean sheet. I think defense is playing very well right now, and offensively we got things rolling pretty well right now. So it's feeling good. We're all confident. Glad we've been able to start the way we have.
2-0-1 record, second place, just 2 points behind the Charleston Battery, and 5 goals for, 1 goal allowed. It's looking so far, it's very young, not a huge sample size, but it's looking like the defense is pretty much left off where it was last year, which is just dominant. It's got to feel good for you, I'm guessing, as a goalkeeper, to be playing in Bob Lilly's system, which is very defensive-minded, and you guys pretty much make sure you're not allowing any goals first, and then you go back and score some.
Yeah, I think Bob has a great system in place, and it's about plugging the right players in. And we've got Grant, who's come in and done very well. Vasilis as well at center back, and you got Pat out wide, who's always steady, as well as Onawa, very attack-minded, but also gets the job done defensively. So it gives me confidence to play in front or play behind them, and knowing that they're going to shut down most things, and I just have to stay focused and do my job whenever called upon.
Now, I got to ask you, we were a little confused last week. We were trying to figure out where you guys were actually going to play in Montreal. I thought it was going to be at Claude Robillard, where the Impact played a long time ago. It turned out to be a side field at the next to Saputo Stadium, correct?
Yeah, it's actually they have a turf field which is in between like their Olympic Stadium and Stade Saputo. So it was a nice field, nice turf field. So it wasn't quite the stadium, but it wasn't a bad field.
Were there any fans there?
It was a decent atmosphere. I mean, for it not being in like a traditional stadium like what we played in the week before in Pittsburgh, I mean they got a decent amount of fans out there.
Okay, it's kind of weird, some of these new MLS JV squads, so to speak. I mean the Red Bulls too. They played their game against you guys in Red Bull Arena. I know now they're going to be playing at Columbia University the rest of the season. It didn't seem to be a huge crowd down there, but then there's other teams like Seattle to Vancouver to Real Salt Lake to, like, they're drawing actual 3,000-4,000 fans to see these USL squads. So I was just interested in that. Hopefully it'd be nice to see a team like Montreal actually have some fan support.
Yeah, it would. I mean, there was actually some of their supportive group out there, waving flags, making noise. Obviously, it'd be nice to, be able to play in a bit more of an atmosphere. But
sure,
that's one thing we talked about before the game. It's a bit different than going to Pittsburgh and playing in their real stadium with all their fans. So
right.
You gotta make sure you're up and focused and ready for the game.
Right. So the other big Rochester soccer news from this weekend was John McCarthy, who you played under last year, getting his first start for the Philadelphia Union, which kind of happened really quickly, only took a couple weeks, and getting the win against NYCFC. You got to be proud of him. I mean, that's great.
Yeah, it's great news for him. He was here last year. He did really well, and everyone knew he was going to go to Philadelphia and do just as well. And so it's great to see him go there and get a shot and take advantage of it and do well. So we're all really proud of him.
Is it? Do you feel any pressure on yourself trying to follow up? I mean, the season McCarthy had here last year was something that probably comes along only once in a great while. Do you feel any pressure to try to live up to any expectations?
No, to be honest. I mean, obviously John had a great season last year, but we try not to really focus on what happened last year. Focus on what we can accomplish this year. And Rochester's had great goalkeeping for years,
yes.
Not just last.
Absolutely.
Christian before that, Valo, Kitson, there's been some great goalkeepers here, and so you can't really put that pressure on yourself. You just gotta focus on training every day, focus on what you need to get better at, and when your time comes, just doing your job.
So you guys are going on the road again Thursday at Louisville. That should be fun playing in there. From what I've seen, it looks like they have a great atmosphere there. They're playing in the baseball stadium there where the Louisville Bats play, and I know they sold out their opener, so that's got to be exciting.
Yeah, I think it'll be two great atmospheres this weekend. Start out in Louisville, upstart club, but I think that they're going to have a lot of fans, a great atmosphere. Obviously, they've got a quality team there, so I think that'll be good. And then heading out to St. Louis on Saturday, I think as well. I watched their game this past weekend, and it looks like they've got a great setup there. Fan base is there, and a quality team. So I think it'll be two great tests this weekend.
Very cool. This the growth of the USL is so exciting. I mean, adding 10 teams from last year. Do you like the direction that they're going with all the expansion and kind of moving to a more regional-based schedule, at least? I mean, I know you guys don't get to fly to California anymore, which it's kind of a shame, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're going to miss those trips going out to LA and Arizona and places like that. But I think as long as the quality of the league, the competition, the talent level keeps growing, which it is, I think it's just nothing but positive, and I'm looking forward to where it's going.
Do you think that it's possible for the league to expand at the rapid pace that it's expanding without diluting the talent pool?
I think that it's the expansion is giving opportunity to more players to showcase themselves. I think there's obviously got to be a limit. You can't have hundreds of teams.
Sure,
That,
I hope not.
It's going to dilute. But I think that the pace that it's going right now, I think it's just giving a lot more players the opportunity to showcase themselves and show that they can play at this level, hopefully at higher levels. And so I think that it's positive what's going on, and hopefully this year will go well and growth will continue.
Do you find a difference when you guys play the MLS Academy team, so to speak? Is there a difference in style between them and the older, more established USL teams like Charleston and Richmond?
I think that as far as the difference in style, I think it's just a system. Each system for each team, it may not be simply an MLS Academy team versus one of the older established teams. I think it's just the system that each team puts in. I think the main difference you see is that you just like a Montreal versus a Pittsburgh. You're seeing a lot younger players who may not be physically or as mentally developed as say a bunch of the players on Pittsburgh, just because they're more established, they've been playing longer, and so it's just a different type of competition level. Not saying that Montreal didn't have a very talented squad, because they did. It's just that you just get more experience coming from the Pittsburghs, the Richmond, those teams, because they're signing older, more established players. But the competition level is still there, which is good for the league.
Yeah, I remember hearing that the Red Bulls had signed a 16-year-old, I believe, to the Red Bulls too. I don't know if he played against you guys, but I was like, wow, that is young to be playing professional soccer.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he played against us, but I agree. It's young, but it's at the same time it's good for you get 16, 17-year-old to get competitive matches against more experienced players, to give them that experience and help them develop as a player. And so I think that's one thing, one bonus that these MLS Academy teams are doing as far as helping the growth of soccer in the United States.
Yeah, that's something that you hear goes on in Europe is the big clubs will sign kids really young, like 12, and then, slowly get them in the academy. And then, when they're 15, 16, 17, they might be playing professionally in, the third division.
Yeah. So, I think that's good for development. And hopefully we'll see over the next few years, younger and younger players breaking into first teams in MLS and maybe getting experience internationally. And we can point back to, USL as helping them with that growth process.
Very cool. Brandon, any, specific goals for you guys this year? I mean, you got to the first round of the playoffs last year, lost a really close game to the LA Galaxy 2. What's the goal for this year?
I think the goal for this year would have to be, take that next step. I mean, we've shown in the first few games that I think we're a bit further ahead than we were last year at the same point. I think that if we can keep continuing to develop and better ourselves in training every day, I think that we can go even further than last year. And obviously the end goal would be to win a championship. So that's what our main goal is right now. We just got to focus game by game, just focus on what our opponent in front of us, and yeah, I think we can get it done.
Very cool. By the way, Brandon, I saw you went to UNC Wilmington. That is a beautiful, beautiful school and a beautiful region. I spent some time down there. Wrightsville Beach, I do remember, was fantastic.
Yeah, that's one place I really do miss.
Well, I mean, the good news is if you go outside today, you can go down to Lake Ontario, and Charlotte Beach will feel a little bit like Wrightsville.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Brandon, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck on the road trip this week. When are you guys leaving for Louisville?
We head out on Wednesday.
All right, very cool.
Good luck to you guys.
Good luck, guys, this weekend, and we'll see you back home. The home opener is April 26th. That's a Sunday, 2:05 against the New York Red Bulls 2. The first time the Rhinos and the Red Bulls played, it was a 0-0 tie. So it should be a great rematch at Salins, and hopefully it'll be a warm day. Brandon, thank you so much.
All right, thanks for having me. Have a good day.
Yep. Brandon Miller, the goalkeeper for the Rochester Rhinos. Matt Goldman, John Cargyle back here in the Rock Sports Network studios. What else we got going on, John? Why don't we thank one of our sponsors?
Well, real quick before that, even though he said that, they don't pay attention to what happened the year before, you got to admit, being in a city like Rochester with the kind of goalkeepers we've had, there always are some big shoes to fill. And
absolutely.
I'm sure that he feels the pressure.
For some reason, we just seem to be a goalkeeper factory.
Oh, yeah.
And the weird thing is, it's not only in soccer. If you look at some of the goaltenders in hockey that have come through here, Ryan Miller came through here. Okay, he spent 4 years here. Martin Biron spent 4 years here. There's been some great goaltenders in recent memory. If you want to look at lacrosse, we have the best. Pat O'Toole.
Even
Matt
even
Vince,
Chugger.
The best goalie in the world, is here right now. John Galloway, arguably the best goalie in Major League Lacrosse, is here. For some reason, we just have very good goalies in Rochester.
And I think a part of it, too, is we appreciate our goaltenders. I mean, I think some places goaltenders get overlooked, even really good ones. I mean, when I remember going to the signings at the Nighthawks games, and you'd have the player lines, and Matt Vince always had the longest line.
Yes.
But we love our goalies here in Rochester. You know what else we love here? We also love Leroy Discount Liquor. Especially on a day like today, a nice warm day. There's really no excuse not to get out there. Maybe you have work. Hopefully you're not like me and you're working till midnight, but if you're like everybody else, you're working till 4 or 5, why don't you take the short trip out to Leroy Discount Liquor? Johnny has got a nice, great selection of wine and some new selection of whiskey, which I tried in the show. It was really good.
How was it?
It was good.
You like it?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah?
And the thing is, I'm not much of a whiskey drinker, but it was smooth. It was good. It was Canadian whiskey, I remember. And the wine, my favorite, $5.99. You have the $15.99 under, but then you have the $5.99 rack. That's my favorite. So why don't you go check that out and check out Johnny at Leroy Discount Liquor.
All right, John, we're going to have Craig Rybczynski, the longtime play-by-play broadcaster for the Rochester Nighthawks, calling in just a minute here. The Nighthawks, 14-5 victory over the Colorado Mammoth on Saturday.
Big victory.
Clinching a playoff spot. So they allowed 5 goals to Colorado, and this is a week after allowing just 2 goals to Minnesota. So the defense is just everything's clicking right now.
I'll say it's one of those things that's clicking, and then before that, when we had the meltdown.
Oh, the week before, when they only scored 3 goals to Edmonton, 16-3. We'll ask Craig about that, but I'm guessing that was kind of a wake-up call for the team.
But I also think, just like you said, I mean, they had some time off, and anytime, especially when you have a team like this, I mean, the Nighthawks, they're not a team that spends a lot of time off the field together, I guess, because they all live all over the place.
Right.
So, I mean, especially when you spend that time apart, you have to re-click, but, man, they've clicked.
And just a game behind the Toronto Rock, playing at Colorado this coming Friday, so it should be a good rematch. I'm usually the Mammoth play pretty well at home, so it might be a little tougher of a go than it was on Saturday. But we'll ask Craig about that. Craig Rybczynski, the longtime play-by-play broadcaster for the Nighthawks. You got to be super excited about this past weekend. 14-5 victory over the Colorado Mammoth, holding John Grant Jr. to just 3 points, which is usually a really, really good sign. Impressions from the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, how could you not be excited? We've allowed 14 goals combined over the last 3 games.
Wow.
I mean, that's 4.6,
unbelievable.
That's like
4.67 goals against average.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I mean, it's not only is the defense playing well in front of Matt, but it's nice to see how well Joe Reziteritz has fit in offensively.
Yeah.
8 points in 3 games, and the offense is moving the ball better, and they're moving their feet more and creating more chances. So I think, the Edmonton game was a wake-up call, and we responded with 3 of our best games of the year.
Yeah, that Joe Reziteritz trade worked out great. Coming over from Buffalo, he, his first weekend, he scored 5 goals, including a hat trick in the first half of the second game. To me, as I follow across, pretty well. I hadn't even heard of him, to be honest, and then he comes in and just fits right in.
Yeah, you know what? He had a lot of success at Albany in his college playing days, and he was out in Calgary when he started his career, and then he went, back home. He's a Buffalo native. Had a pretty good season last year, but this year I think he just kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit. I mean, there's a ton of offensive firepower on the Bandits, and in the last couple of games he wasn't seeing a lot of playing time, and he's got a big history with Mike Hazen and Dan Dawson and Joe Walters, playing in Brampton up in the summer league. So when there was an opportunity to get him, I know that Coach Hazen was really excited because, he really helped Joe make the transition to the field, from field to indoor a couple of years ago in Brampton. And, now he's reaping the benefits with him being one of our right-handed forwards.
Now, how about the resurgence of Stephen Keogh? I mean, he was a little bit, missing. I mean, I know he was out for a little bit in the beginning of the year, but when he came back, he looked like he wasn't really in it totally yet like he was at the end of last year, but he's looking great recently.
Yeah, you know what? Last year, he came in the camp really fit, had a career season, and then unfortunately, he's had 2 stints on the injured reserve list. But I think he's just starting to get in mid-season form. Right now, he had a season best 4 goals last game, and I think only better things are to come out of Stephen Keogh. You can just see, as he gets healthier, he's getting more ground balls.
Mm-hmm.
He's fighting in the corners more. He's getting those gritty goals that we really need out of him.
So, of course, now rematch coming up Friday night in Colorado. I know they usually play pretty well at home. They draw very well, 16,000 a lot. It's probably going to be a little tougher go, I'm guessing, on the road, and usually Junior plays pretty well at home as well.
Yeah, you know what? They call that place the Loud House, and that's because, that place is deafening when you go in there. And they play, you're right, they do play better at home. And, everyone's reaction at the end of the game was they were happy and satisfied with the victory over Colorado, but they know it's going to be a totally different team that they play against on Friday night.
Mm-hmm. You know what my favorite I love I'm pretty sure the sock trick came out of Colorado, right?
That's correct.
All right. So of course
that's 6 goals in a game.
It's 6? Okay, I wasn't sure it was 5 or 6.
Yep, 6 goals.
Okay. 6 goals. Which that's pretty rare, John. I mean, there hasn't been a Nighthawk that has scored even close to that this year. I think 4 is the most, right? Or it's 5.
5 goals was the most this year.
By Dawson?
Joe Walters.
Oh, Joe Walters. Oh, okay, that's right. Okay,
That's pretty close to a sock.
very cool. Yeah, it's almost a sock trick.
Mm-hmm.
We still got the hat trick though. I like carrying over the term hat trick to lacrosse. I think it fits.
Mm-hmm.
The games are very similar. But
yeah, absolutely.
So 1 game behind the Toronto Rock now. Toronto's at 12-4, and the Nighthawks at 10-4. What are you thinking are the prospects of the Nighthawks catching the Rock for first place?
Well, I know they're committed to doing it. I know that's their main focus. Will it be a tough task? I think it will be. I mean, Toronto's got New England twice.
Mm-hmm.
So, basically we got to look at it like we have to win out.
Okay.
And obviously this weekend is a huge test, 2 games in 2 days, Vancouver on Saturday after the Friday Colorado game. if we win both of those games, obviously we put ourselves in a great position with a home game against New England and a road game in Minnesota. And if we get a win this weekend, one of the two will clinch a home playoff game. So, I think that if we can get through this weekend's test, and then it'll be down to 2 games. So we always some way, shape, or form seem to find wins at the end of the season. So
very true. And of course, finishing first under the current playoff format is huge because you avoid that one and done first round series. Is it one and done this year? The first round? Yeah. Which
one and done this year.
You want to avoid that because you never know what can happen in that game.
Yeah, obviously it's cliche, but anyone can win on any given night. You have a bad game and you're out of the playoffs.
So yeah, obviously, who has a tiebreaker if Rochester and Toronto finish tied?
What was that?
Who has the tiebreaker if the Nighthawks and Rock finish tied atop the table?
Rochester does.
Oh, okay.
We won the season series when we beat them 11-7.
Okay.
2 weeks ago. So we've got the tiebreaker on Buffalo and Toronto.
Wow,
nice.
Buffalo obviously sweeping them 3-0. It's great. If you're gonna be winning season series, to do it in your own division is awesome because you get the tiebreaker and you just have that psychological leg up going into the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. You can beat them.
Right.
You're not going in there not having won. And thinking, hopefully we can, gut out a win or two against these guys. Buffalo and Rochester, there's never any secrets on how we play each other. Mm-hmm. So it's always a close game.
It looked like a great crowd Saturday night at home. I know it was 7,988. Really nice to see a good crowd at the end of the year here.
Yeah, you know what? Our Kids Day has gotten bigger and better every year. Kids under 12 got in for free. Mm-hmm. With their parents. So it's, we open the gates at 4:00 and the kids stay until the later hours of the evening. So it's good to get, younger kids, have them come out to a Nighthawks game and enjoy it with their parents. So obviously it's working because it's one of our highest attended games of the season. So it's always a lot of fun.
Craig, we had John Galloway on earlier in the show. I know you used to work for the Rattlers and you worked for the Hamilton Nationals, correct?
Yep.
So what are your thoughts on the whole home stadium situation with them? They couldn't get a lease done at Salins, moving to Eunice Kennedy Shriver Stadium in Brockport. I was pretty skeptical at first. We had Brad Ford on the show. He's pretty excited about it. He thinks it's going to be kind of a rebirth for the team. What are your thoughts?
Well, that's how I would look at it. Just kind of a fresh start, almost a reboot of the franchise. When I was there, we went from Frontier Field to Bishop Kearney to Salins Stadium. So, it's not unlike them to find a new home. But that stadium is absolutely gorgeous. And I know they're getting a lot of help out there. So I wish them all the best of luck. I want lacrosse to succeed indoor and outdoor.
I know they're going to have a great season this year. Already starting off, with the overtime victory yesterday in Charlotte, coming off a championship appearance against Denver. I think that with the talent that they have, which is probably at the top of the league, just hopefully the people of Rochester understand that this team is fun to watch. The Rattlers I'm talking about.
Yeah, and you know what? Even indoor fans will know a lot of the players. They probably have the most NLL players on their roster once the National Lacrosse League season ends. So, and Tim Sudan and the rest of the staff, they do an awesome job, kind of piecing together the rosters early part of the season. Because that's when you can really lose out on a playoff berth. If you don't start off hot in that league, there's not a lot of games. You got to grab guys from everywhere to win games. So. It was exciting yesterday when they won an OT.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, tying the game with 2 seconds left, and then Wolf with the winner in overtime. Very exciting, and I'm hoping they get a decent crowd for the opener this Sunday. Of course, the Nighthawks, the last home game will be April 25th, Saturday night, 7:30 against the New England Black Wolves, and I'm guessing it's fan appreciation night.
Well, actually, military appreciation night.
Okay.
Yeah,
Even
we're going to do that. We'll be announcing that early next week. There's going to be discounts on tickets, merchandise. We're going to have color guard. We're going to sell military-themed T-shirts with proceeds going to 2 different veterans organizations. So we changed it up a little bit this year. So we're going to honor our men and women in uniform, past and present. So
very cool. Should be exciting. You can catch Craig as the play-by-play man, longtime play-by-play man for the Nighthawks on 105.5 The Team, and also 1520 and 1330 a.m. Did I get that right?
13, yeah, that's out in Canandaigua.
Yes.
Yep.
So 105.5 The Team on Friday night from Colorado. It's 9 o'clock game time?
Yep, 9 o'clock start.
And then Saturday night in Vancouver is a 10 o'clock, correct?
Yeah, you're going to stay up pretty late on the East Coast.
All right. Well, it'll be worth it. It should be an exciting weekend of lacrosse out west for the Nighthawks. Craig, it's a pleasure as always. Thank you for joining us.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yep. And, all right, that was Craig Rybczynski from the Nighthawks. Should be a great weekend for the Nighthawks. I hope they sweep it. I hope they
fingers are crossed.
Fingers crossed. I hope they can catch Toronto here because it's definitely going to be a huge boost.
And it's going to be a good race no matter what. It's just this season has turned out, I think, very favorable from what it was in the beginning. I think you and I both did not expect this.
No,
after the first
but I think
weeks.
we probably, looking back, we probably should not have been worried because they are the Nighthawks.
And as he said, they do always find a way at the end to win games, and that's just been historical Nighthawks.
Dr. Brown Eye Care, 880 Long Pond Road in Greece, conveniently located right off of 390, is your home for all of your eye care needs. They just expanded their office, literally doubled it in size. The new office is absolutely gorgeous. They have a massive selection of glasses, sunglasses, and contacts to choose from. I got my frames and contacts there. I smile whenever I look in the mirror, not just because I'm so good looking, but because my glasses and contacts from Dr. Brown Eye Care are so good looking, John. They have all the new technology all the best technology for contact lenses, and they also have a great selection of specialty glasses for cycling, golf, tennis, baseball, and other sports called Bole. And it's a European thing. It's very high tech. It looks great if you are an athlete and you also wear glasses. So give them a call to schedule your appointment, 227-7030. Dr. Brown's been doing this for over 3 decades. He's seen absolutely everything, and he knows exactly how to optimize your eye health. Give him a call today at 227-7030. John.
What do we got?
You know what we got? We have a really cool story that I want to share with the people of Rochester before we go. Now, did you ever hear of the midget?
Midget
that played in Major League Baseball?
No,
okay.
I never heard of the midget.
So there was a midget that played in Major League Baseball. Bill Veeck, who Kevin Oklibzija was telling us had the shower in the outfield for the fans and also pitch clock long before the current pitch clocks. So he, as a publicity stunt, used a midget.
A little person?
Yes, a little person. Sorry.
Midget.
Whatever. A little person. Okay. A little person in a game, okay? And his number was 1/8. All right? Now, I'm going to give credit to the story to Gary Larder, who is the chairman of the board of Rochester Community Baseball. This is a really, really cool story. Please stay tuned for this. Listen in. If you're listening live, we're going to reset the mixer here in a second. I can do that now. But so the midget, well before Bill Veeck had a midget play for his Chicago team, the Buffalo Bisons, believe it or not, used a midget. Here's the story. The 1905 season had been a disappointment to the Buffalo Bisons and their manager, George Stallings. They had won the pennant in the Junior World Series the year before, but here in September of 1905, the team was languishing in 5th place on its final road trip of the season. The time was ripe for something to lift the team from its late-season lethargy. At the Baltimore hotel where the Bisons were staying, Stallings and his men stuck up a friendship with a midget actor named Jerry Sullivan, who was playing the part of Little Mose in a musical called Simple Simon Simple, which had just opened at Baltimore's Academy of Music.
The Baltimore Sun described it as a newspaper cartoon play of major importance with a large cast that includes 50 lively chorus girls. The 3-hour performance required no fewer than 287 costumes. Throughout his baseball life, George Stallings lived a contrary existence. Off the field, he was a quintessence of the Southern country squire. But on the field, he was a hot-tempered, profane, superstitious, and unpredictable. In Baltimore in 1905, he invited actor Sullivan to come out to Oriole Park to act as a mascot for the Bisons. But Stallings may have had something else in the back of his mind. The next day, September 18th, Sullivan arrived in a Bison uniform, no doubt whipped out by the acting company's overworked seamstress, was active in pregame practice, and took to the coaching lines for 2 innings. But his spirited coaching did not help the Bisons, who trailed 10-2 going into the ninth. Catcher Frank McManus singled to open the inning, bringing pitcher Stan Yerkes to the bat. It was then that Stallings sent Jerry Sullivan to the plate, escorted by Rube Kissinger, resident clown and good-humor man of the Bisons. When Kissinger told umpire Charlie Simmer that Sullivan was pinch hitting, there was no objection from Oriole manager Hugh Jennings, and the arbiter, the announcer, announced gravely, "Sullivan batting for the Yerkes." The fans, of course, loved it. Pitcher Fred Burchell of the Orioles was doubled over with laughter. He gained enough self-control to launch his first pitch, which was predictably high for ball 1. He wafted the next pitch toward the plate and no more than 6 inches off the ground. To everyone's amazement, the little man swung the bat, which was as long as he was tall, and lofted a gentle fly ball over third baseman Charlie Laudenschlager's head for a single. The embarrassed Burchell tried to pick Sullivan off first, but he scurried safely back, ducking between the legs of the first baseman Tim Jordan, who at 6'1" was almost twice Sullivan's size. Jake Getman then singled, sending Sullivan to second. By this time, Burchell was so distraught that he fired the next pitch 5 feet over the catcher's head, allowing Sullivan to amble to third, whence he scored on a single by Frank Laporte. His headfirst slide into home drew a tremendous ovation from the crowd. Said the Baltimore Sun the next day, Sullivan, the new acquisition, finished his first game leading the entire Eastern League. Though Mose made a valiant effort, he was unable to pull the Bisons out of the tall timber to which they had been driven by the chirping Orioles. The final score is Baltimore 10, Buffalo 6. The next day, the Bisons, still laughing, left for Providence, while Jerry Sullivan resumed his more familiar role cavorting among the 50 lively chorus girls. It is not known what the future held for the tiny actor-turned-ball player, but the record for all time shows that he played for the Buffalo Bisons in a regular Eastern League game, had a hit, scored a run, and batting a perfect 1.000. You could look it up. And again, the credit for that goes to Gary Larder, chairman of the board for Rochester Community Baseball.
That's pretty interesting.
It's pretty cool, right?
I mean, I feel bad because back in those days, the sideshow was very much alive and well.
You couldn't do that nowadays.
No.
I couldn't see it happening.
No, it wouldn't happen nowadays. But it's interesting though what was a little sideshow. He actually has a place in history.
Let's thank another one of our sponsors, the Mirage, 414 West Ridge Road, is the official bar and strip club of Rochester Sports Mumblings. They're open 7 nights a week, 4 p.m. early on Fridays for happy hour. They have the hottest girls in Rochester and the coldest beer. Go visit them right on the corner of Ridge and Dewey, conveniently located right off of 104. The girls are smoking hot. The waitresses are hot. The bartenders are hot. And the beer is ice cold and very friendly service and very comfortable seats and a great pool table. Just a great time overall. Go visit them at the Mirage. Why don't you tell us about Joey's Place?
Joey's Place. That's the place you want to go, especially if you have a car like our good pal Matt over here. You want to go to 936 Portland Avenue for a $15.95 oil change. That is the lowest in town.
By far.
Just mention the show, Rochester Sports Mumbling. He's been serving the community for over 5 years. Exceptional service. Hours are 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, and if you want to go on the weekend, 9 to 6. You can give him a call at 319-4562. Remember, these are the most reasonable prices in Rochester, and you're supporting a member of one of our local beloved sports teams.
The Rochester Lancers, of course. And, John, I always take my car to Joey's Place to get anything it needs. No, it's running all right.
After taking it there, right?
Mark Sotilia is running pretty good. Rochester Sports and Physical Therapy is your home for all of your physical therapy needs. They're located conveniently off of 390, off of the Calkins Road exit, 125 Red Creek Drive.
My physical therapist, Katie, I love her. She's been doing this for over 2 decades. Edna is fantastic, too. All the PT techs there, the staff, everything's fantastic. They have all the physical therapy equipment you could ever need, whether you need to rehab from knee surgery like me, if you have back pain, shoulder problems, sprained ankle, anything like that, go to Rochester Sports and Physical Therapy, too. Best part is you do not even need a prescription from your doctor. Most insurances cover at least 10 visits to a physical therapist for any reason. Nice. Give a call today, 334-8090 to schedule your first appointment, and tell them you heard us. You heard them on Rochester Sports Mumblings.
Heard us too.
Okay, yes, exactly. You did hear us. The Rochester Rhinos are opening up their home season Sunday, April 26th versus the New York Red Bulls 2:05 at Salem Stadium. Season tickets are still available, just $99. Give them a call today, 454-KICK. You still might be able to get the 20th anniversary scarf as well if you order season tickets now. I'm not. Don't.
I'd hurry up. I would hurry on that.
Don't quote me on it. But ask them about that. They might throw in that 20th anniversary scarf, which looks really, really sharp. I saw the new Rhinos kits, by the way. The home kits look pretty good. They're different than last year. It's got the 20th anniversary logo. White, mostly white, a little bit of green. So, looks all right. My favorite is, I miss the old black and white, to be honest.
Yeah, same here.
I don't know why they don't do the black and white. But the green, I love the road jerseys. The green and gold are fantastic. The green and gold stripes.
There's one thing I do like is, one thing about Rochester is we usually have some pretty good, pretty classy, pretty respectable colors and uniform. I mean, the Amherst, one of the most recognizable sweaters in all of hockey. The Rhinos, same thing. I mean, I like their new logo.
Speaking of the Amherst, our boy Matt Garbowski from the RIT Tigers, who pulled off that stunning upset of Minnesota State in the NCAA tournament, he got his first professional hockey point, an assist in the Amherst 5-1 loss at the Toronto Marlies on Saturday. So congratulations to Matt Garbowski. And, of course, our friends over at the Rochester Rattlers. Exciting opener coming up this Sunday, April 19th, 1 p.m. against the New York Lizards. $15 tickets, general admission, great price. And they're opening up their new stadium, their new digs, Eunice Kennedy Shriver Stadium in Brockport. It's right on the campus of SUNY Brockport. So all you got to do is take 531, right, John, out to 31. You don't think it's Brockport, right? Just take 31, and you go past the Wegmans on the left, and I think you go past, there's a couple banks on the right, and you keep going, and you'll see the Brockport campus on your right. You just turn in there and follow the signs to
And I'm pretty sure there'll be people directing you if you need
Absolutely, yeah.
help.
I mean, there's gonna be a pretty good crowd, I think, there. So, go out there. The Rattlers look great this season, and it should be a great day on Sunday for lacrosse. John, I think we pretty much covered it.
I think so.
We did it all, right?
I think we did.
All right, guys, have a great Rock Sports. Oh, one more thing. Can't forget about our home network, rocksportsnetwork.com. Check out Matt and Matt on Ice. Matt Stefopoulos and Matt Winthrop. They were both at the Frozen Four in Boston this past weekend, Providence College. John Galloway coaches there. We had him on earlier. They were at the Frozen Four. Providence College won it all. I'm sure they will have a lot to talk about. They will give you their first-hand account of their experience at the Frozen Four. So listen to them Wednesday nights you can find them on Mixlr. Just go to rocksportsnetwork.com and click on Matt and Matt on Ice, or find all of their archive shows also there. And check out the Big Schmoz, local and national wrestling happenings and updates hosted by superstar Rob Schultz and Ivan the Impaler. Local high school sports broadcasts are coming up on rocksportsnetwork.com, including high school lacrosse. And check out our other network, latenightsportsradio.com. Lots of great shows over there, including us on Tuesday nights at 10 p.m.
Listen into it, guys.
All right, John, I think we're all set. Enjoy, if you're listening live, enjoy this wonderful Rochester day. If you're listening on Tuesday or Wednesday, hopefully it's still just as nice. All right, guys, take it easy. We'll talk to you next week.
Good night.